And we are live. Hello, and welcome to Star Trek Rewind, your weekly visit to the future in the past. I am the Pyrosaniac, and with me today is...
Captain Fruit.
And Ninja Nerd.
Yay, we're all here, it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Today we are doing Season 1, Episode 8, The Battle, which is about everybody's favorite enemy, the Ferengi.
Yeah.
Bok.
Ooh.
Bok
Yeah.
the Ferengi.
Damon Bok, the Ferengi.
Well, Damon isn't his first name. But
Well, it's a title.
yeah. I only mention that because there are later episodes in which they describe them. They describe it as like a first name. So it's like this person is being harassed by a Ferengi named Damon, and I'm like, I don't think that that's his actual name. That would be very confusing if his actual name was Damon.
Yeah, that was it.
It would be like
Well-
somebody in the real world whose actual name is Lieutenant.
Yeah, or Captain.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
All right. Well.
Anyway, so basically, when Picard was captain of the Stargazer, he blew up a ship and then lost the Stargazer.
Or so
turns
he
out-
thought.
Well, yeah,
Well, he did lose it. It just wasn't completely destroyed.
he just found it again a bit later.
Well, he didn't really find it. It was given to him by somebody else as some sort of elaborate, really convoluted revenge plot.
Yeah, which involves a strange mind-probing device that causes headaches.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, I feel like there probably could have been a more effective means of getting your revenge in that, like, random scheme. Like, it seemed like there were so many elements that could have gone wrong that it just wasn't worth it.
I love everyone's reaction to Picard's headache. Either, wait, you have a headache? Or, what on earth is a headache?
Yeah, it's like...
Actually, I have something to say about that. I might say it a little bit later and under technology, but I have a bit of a quirk with that.
Doesn't
Alright.
anyone get dehydrated?
Yeah.
Ever?
I'll be
I mean-
speaking about that a little bit later.
Alright, so should we just go into trivia first then?
Yes, trivia. This is the second appearance of the Ferengi, the race that was designed to be the big bad antagonist of Star Trek The Next Generation.
But they kind of weren't the best, so
Yeah,
they
it
kind of
didn't-
just got rid of them after a while.
It didn't really live up to the title of...
Big,
What
bad,
they-
and scary.
Yeah, the big bad.
They're kind of just like goblins.
Yeah. Actually, interesting enough, does anyone else think that Damon kind of sounds like a bastardized
Demon?
version of Demon?
Yes. It's almost like they were trying to go for something there. Especially given, you know, the fang teeth and giant ears.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So the bridge of the Stargazer is actually just the Enterprise D's battle bridge from the pilot. From
Well,
Encounter at Farpoint, just redressed slightly and redecorated.
Wow. Well, I mean, I guess they save money on sets. Incidentally, like, when did they go back to the battle bridge anyway?
Do they ever?
I believe
don't-
there's a couple of times, I think,
They
but it's
might.
not very often.
I'm not... I don't remember. I can't remember any time other than the first episode distinctly that they go back to the battle bridge. They seem to do everything from the main bridge.
In Generations, when they separate the drive section, does anyone go to the battle bridge?
I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've seen Generations.
Oh, and what's it called? The Best of Both Worlds.
Best of both worlds. Yeah, they do it in that one.
Part 2.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Uh-huh.
yeah, they do, don't they? I think that they do, at least. Huh. Alright, well. Guess it's good they kept the set around, then, as a spare. They can just use it on miscellaneous other StarCraft. Such as a
Yeah.
Stargazer.
Do you know the Star Trek Enterprise D, the one that they're using right now? there's a massive captain's yacht that detaches from the underside middle of the saucer section.
Yes. Hey, Thinkulum is in the stream.
I mean, they never used it once, the captain's yacht, but it's there apparently.
Like where? Like in a shuttle bay or what?
No, it just detaches from the underside of the ship. Look, it's... Hello. My
Hello.
picture just became a question mark.
Oh.
That isn't good.
Can you still see the picture?
Of
Yes,
what?
I can see it. It should still be fine.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right,
it's
I-
fine for me as well.
I can't point to it because the entire image just turned into a question mark.
Is this
To
the
me.
stream?
No, on the co-sketch.
Oh.
Everything just turned into a question mark.
Try leaving it and rejoining.
I did. That's what made everything else become a question mark.
Oh.
That isn't good.
Useless technology.
Yeah, not the greatest site, unfortunately, but at least it's safe from people randomly joining.
Yeah. Because that was pretty bad the last time that happened.
Yes, we will not.
We don't need to go into any details about that.
Yeah, no, we don't.
All right.
So, yeah, there's the plot of the of what was it? Star Trek 2, the second new one, right there in the top right corner. But
What?
yeah.
Wait, where?
On the co-sketch, you'll see it in a second.
I can't tell what they are.
Just watch the stream.
The stream's a little
Oh,
bit behind because I have to have a stream delay for YouTube for some stupid reason.
All right. Well, no, you can still see it. Anyway, let's move on. While you're working out the technical issues, are there any metaphors and themes that we wanted to talk about?
Revenge
Well-
is bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're kind of blunt with that, I guess.
pretty much.
Like, I believe that's literally something that Riker said at one point. Yeah, he said the second in command person said, "Bach has been removed from command, sir, and placed under guard for his act of personal vengeance. It seems there was no profit in it." And then Riker's response, "In revenge, there never is." You're like, wow, that's pretty on the nose.
Yeah. No, I do have to admit that line was perfectly timed, and even if it did come off as a little bit, totally cheesy, it was still.
A little bit, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was still kind of cool just sort of see him get his comeuppance.
No, yeah. I mean, I'd personally say this episode is probably the first actually good episode. It's got an interesting and original plotline. The graphics aren't mind-numbingly awful. It's got an actual antagonist who seems to have actual motivations.
Yes, that's true, and I liked how they actually disagreed with the rest of the Ferengi.
Yeah,
Rather
it sort of
than-
shows them as like not just sort of a, single, united bad guy. There's actual variation in them. So
Yes.
the first officer disagrees with him, and then he was actually doing something illegal under Ferengi law. So the Ferengi aren't necessarily always the bad guys. Oh, hey, look, it's a picture of the shuttle, the
The captain's yacht,
captain's yacht.
Yeah, it's that thing. That massive thing on the bottom.
And they never use it.
They never use it, not once.
Why is it there?
I have no idea.
I have a book of it, and it has a picture of it, and it looks pretty cool, and it would have actually been pretty awesome if they used it.
I'm sure it is. I mean, every time that Captain Picard gets on the shuttlecraft and goes somewhere, why not use the yacht instead?
Yeah, I know. Like, maybe he just forgot that it was there, like this entire time. And then there's this section at the end of the last episode where you're just like, wait a second, I have a yacht. Like, why did nobody tell me this when I was assigned this ship?
Brilliant.
Yeah. So,
And any more metaphors and themes other than revenge is bad? Don't dwell too much on the past.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that was there. Like how he was getting sort of. Yeah. Like don't let your past decisions bother you too much because there's not really anything he could have done to change it.
Yeah.
Or maybe
listen to your
sometimes
doctor.
it's good to kill loads of people.
Well, I mean, he didn't like explicitly. He didn't kill them without provocation.
That's true.
Yeah.
And we know from his, memories that and the way that he reacted to when he thought that he was back at the helm of the Stargazer, that he was ordering them to like stop firing and stuff. Like, if you continue attacking, we will be forced to retaliate. So you do know that he was in fact the not the aggressor in that scenario.
Yeah, that's good.
But it turns out they were right. But anyway.
Yeah. What else did I say? The Prime Directive wasn't brought up at all, which is... So we can't really comment on that.
It doesn't really have anything to do with the thing, though. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Is this the... Are you now has this turned into the plot of that one Star Trek episode where... Or not episode, Star Trek movie where they try to save the whales?
Yes, it has.
Okay, excellent. Well, moving on. Any interesting characters in this?
Characters. I think this is the first time that we started to get an insight into Picard's and Dr. Crush's relationship.
Yeah, I guess.
Because that was very well established throughout the 7 years that this show went on.
Like as friends will.
Yeah, I know. But it took them an awful long time to get from the point they got to in this episode to anywhere else in terms of explaining what exactly happened in their past.
Yeah.
And also Dr. Crusher wasn't there for a significant portion of the show.
Yes.
They were replaced by that other doctor.
Pulaski. Wasn't that just one season, though?
I think so, yes. I forget which one, though. It might have been like season 4 or something. Somewhere around there. But anyway.
To be honest, I've kind of forgotten all about that doctor.
Yeah, she's just kind of there for a while.
Oh. Okay.
And then she's not there. And that's about it.
Oh, okay.
Any more to say about characters? I mean, this was a big one for Picard.
Yeah. I think it was sort of cool to see more, like, to sort of get more insight into Picard's character, I guess. How he was, like, eventually questioning, like, oh, I'm not even sure if what I did was right or anything. Like, he doesn't remember because he's so, being affected by the mind device. I thought it was really interesting and a good opportunity for Patrick Stewart to actually act with, not terrible dialogue.
Yeah, this is probably one of the first time that Patrick Stewart's acting ability really starts to shine in the show.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Patrick Stewart exclusively because I think Patrick Stewart's an amazing actor, but the other actors are pretty good actors too.
Yeah.
Apart from Deanna
Troi. It's so bad. She's the worst. The worst. Every single time, they always try and come up with some sort of convoluted reason to justify the fact that there's a ship's counselor on board, and then she just ends up going and contributing nothing in any case.
But she hypnotized someone last episode.
Literally, I cannot think of a single episode in which she did something that helped the team that wasn't just completely contrived explicitly for the sake of her doing something.
There was that one episode, right, when she was captured by the Romulans, right?
Yeah.
And modified to look like a Romulan.
Yeah.
And the entire episode was about her. And that was a really good episode. But it's the only time ever when she has been in any way a positive effect on the show.
I mean, most of the time she just goes to, explain the obvious or something. That's basically what her role in the show is.
Counter the obvious.
Yeah, it's like something has happened. I do not have any details on what has happened, but something is definitely happening. Or
Captain, I feel a great deal of pain. I don't know how many, and I don't know what, but they're definitely hurting.
Like, I have no details on the situation whatsoever, but I can tell you its general status in case you weren't paying attention to the episode and couldn't figure that out on your own.
Pretty much, yeah. It's unfortunate.
Anyway, let's move on. Continuity. First instance of the Picard maneuver.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
A very useful maneuver if you can travel at warp speed.
Yeah, because it allows you, if in case you were paying attention and or watching the show when he performed the Picard maneuver, to appear in two places at once. However, the fact that they're just instantly able to figure out which one is actually him kind of negates that, but never mind.
I mean, if the light from both is still reaching you, then surely the one that actually is the one that just appeared in front of you.
Yeah, you'd think so. It'd probably be the one that's closer to you than the one that's farther away.
Well, yeah, if there was one ship and now there's two, and the second one's closer, right, then obviously the ship's moved to the closer position.
I mean, unless he's moving back and forth really quickly, there's no way. And I'm pretty sure you can't do that with a warp drive.
And also, watch as they use manipulations of the speed of light in this episode, and then conveniently ignore all effects of special, general, or any other kind of relativity for the next 7 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it's kind of, you need to judge sci-fi shows on the rules that they set themselves up on initially.
I know.
So it's like, if you're going to go hard science, like, I don't know, gravity or something, which, I don't know, it has its, random bits like the guy floating off. But anyway, if you're going for like hard science, then
just a thought about gravity for a second, right? What if the entire station is spinning very slowly?
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually a centrifugal force that pulls him off, rather than any sort of inertia or inertia.
Okay. That's possible.
See, I thought of that just the other day, and what if that's the case?
Although, I mean, yeah, that's actually possible. Although it wouldn't be, this is kind of nitpicking, but centrifugal force isn't technically a force.
Okay,
it's just inertia.
You.
But
yeah, I know.
It's a lot easier to just say centrifugal force
rather
than saying centrifugal inertia.
Yes, it is.
Anyway,
it reminds me of the XKCD comic. No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Anyway.
Okay.
Where were we?
In defense of the Picard maneuver, I actually have a couple of things. One, what if the Ferengi, who were unidentified at this point, just assumed that a second ship had suddenly just appeared out of warp, instead of just, I don't know, that's probably what Picard was kind of going for.
But there were a bunch of lines connecting them.
Yeah, well, the second point is they probably weren't expecting that to happen.
Probably. Because
apparently the maneuver was just invented in the heat of the moment, so I don't know, I guess element of surprise probably paid a big slice of the metaphorical pie there. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, they had never seen a Federation ship before, presumably, because they had no contact with them. So, for all that they knew, the ship could have just, cloned itself and, just duplicated to attack them. So, because it's hard to tell, really, what they were doing.
Yeah.
Also, Data's point about, measuring the compression of the gas within space, right?
Yeah, within space.
Well, okay, maybe there's the hydrogen gas at very, very low density, and that's what they're figuring out, okay? But what sensors are you using to measure this, right? Are you using sensors that obey laws of physics and travel at the speed of light, in which case it's not going to help you? Or are you using special subspace sensors that travel faster than the speed of light? And if that's the case, then why not just attach it to your bloody view screen?
That's a very good question. Maybe because you can't, see things fast enough via a view screen. You need to like look at a special readout, because on the view screen it would just be like it just shows an image, right? So
Right.
Yeah, it's basically a camera.
yeah, so it probably wouldn't be accurately conveyed because it can only travel from the view screen to your eye at the speed of light.
Which is another point. Why is the bridge at the very top of the ship, in the very middle, where it's the most vulnerable, instead of, I don't know, in the
center.
middle, right next to engineering?
I mean, have either of you read the prequel to Ender's Game?
No, don't think so.
Okay, there's that exact thing comes up, and it's like that's actually what got me thinking about the design of the Enterprise in the first place, because they're like, okay, the bridge is obviously of this alien ship is obviously in the dead center, and he goes in to find it and stuff, right? And then I'm like, why is it that the bridge is always on the exterior? It doesn't make any sense.
Especially if they're only using view screens. You know,
Yeah.
the Enterprise is such a massive ship, right? I bet you could put the bridge, all the holodecks, all the shuttle bays, and the medical bay all on a single deck in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And chalk all the rest, every single essential system on one deck. Have
Yeah,
a backup of it on the second deck, and then fill the rest with living spaces.
Yeah, like put the the non-important things on the exteriors, like civilian housing. It's not important.
Okay, two things about that. One, this is not a warship. They are not trying to go to war.
Despite
But
the fact
despite
that
that-
it is used effectively as a warship.
Yes, this
Yeah,
is true.
and don't you think, that even if you're conducting peacetime expenditures, having the bridge within walking distance of the medical bay might on occasion be useful?
Yes, I suppose so, considering
sick
that
bay.
like the command people tend to be they tend to be in sick bay the most often.
Oh,
Mainly
Anything
due to
else?
those damn exploding consoles.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems to happen a lot as well. Space travel is kind of dangerous that way.
Incidentally, why is there only like one turbo lift connected, like one small turbo lift connected to the bridge or med bay? Like, I'd feel like you might need to be able to take in a larger volume of that at any given point.
There's two, right, aren't there?
Yeah, there is. There's one.
Oh
on
yeah,
the
there's
other
one on the
side.
other side. But you'd think that they'd have like a higher volume thing, so that more than like a few people could fit in at any one time.
I think it's just
Yeah.
due to the bridge, because the bridge isn't actually all that big, but there's probably more around other sections of the ship.
Maybe. Well, that's just speculation.
There's also probably ones that go horizontally, like Charlie
all
and the
go
Great Glass
horizontally.
Elevator,
They're all like, it's kind of like a ball that moves through the ship in like a tube.
Yeah.
Not a Jeffrey's tube, just a regular tube.
Another thing, okay? Why do the characters of Star Trek never use site-to-site transporters on the ship in an emergency?
Because
It's, oh, I got third-degree plasma burns. Hey, transport me directly to sickbay. No, let's just ride around on the floor until someone else turns up, and instead of them calling the transporter and getting you to teleport down there, they start dragging you out of the Jeffries tube.
yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense.
Uh,
Like, if
some of
you have the ability to transport people, why not just to transfer people site to site? Why not just use that all the time? Why do they ever walk anywhere? Can't they just use that constantly?
Yeah, and this question's went unasked for so many years, and then there's one episode of Star Trek Voyager when, the doctor there, someone comes into sickbay and says, "Doctor, where are you? I need you immediately." Right, and he just teleports in. Why don't you always do that?
Like, come to think of it, why do they even have turbo lifts? If they can, like, why not just have like a smaller transporter that can just transport you anywhere in the ship instantly? Why bother even making a turbo lift system?
Also, who designed the Jeffries tubes?
Yeah, like, and how they always have like some vital piece of equipment right there that's just really easy to sabotage or like place some sort of explosive device in. Like, it's very inconvenient. Anyway,
Don't know.
What was that? That was continuity. So now let's go on to the wholly unrelated topic of technology.
Oh, sorry.
We certainly go on a lot of tangents, don't we?
I feel like we've already covered most of this next topic, but
Technology. There's a weird mind control device that's apparently illegal on Ferengi's world, but
and is also apparently highly unnoticeable. Despite the fact that it's a giant glowing red ball.
Oh, wait, another thing that's kind of similar to this whole transportation thing, but not really. It's more to do with like the internal computer of the Enterprise. Why do they bother having officers control things if the captain can just give orders to the computer to do stuff?
That's a very good question. If they can just if you can just make everything happen instantly by setting the computer to just listen to him, why have any more than one person on any ship? Like, other than security reasons. There's no reason. I mean,
guess like specialties for science officers and the like, but
yeah, but there's
they
no
don't need so many
reason
pilots.
otherwise.
I
yeah,
guess
they
maybe
definitely don't
computer
need someone
interpreters, really.
on con, right? Actually physically controlling the ship, so we can get rid of Wesley Crusher right off the bat.
Yeah.
Which is always good in my books.
Well, I mean, they evidently don't need anyone, because Captain Picard was able to control the entire ship just by talking.
Yeah, and so just get data in there to counter all the Picard maneuvers you come against, and then you get someone to look impressive by sitting in the captain's chair, and surely you're good to go.
Actually, wait, why doesn't Data just get his own ship and pilot it himself? He probably has the mental processing power to do it.
You'd think so. I don't know. But for that matter, why don't they just program a highly intelligent computer into the ship and just have the ship run everything itself?
Because there isn't that many artificial intelligences in Star Trek.
Well, I mean, they have an entire ship's worth of space.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Data isn't exactly have a whole bunch of relatives, you know.
Well,
I mean, he has lore.
But I mean, that's about it. And that didn't turn out so well, I guess. So, but we'll be getting to him in a couple episodes' time.
Yes, and we'll be reaching probably the greatest episode of the first season in Data lore. It is coming up. Any more technology?
I mean, well, this isn't really technology, but just something I wanted to mention at some point. There was something I'd always wondered, right? You know how in the episode, Picard goes to see his old quarters, right? And it's filled with all his old stuff. And I'm like, okay, if you really cared about this stuff, why didn't you just take it with you when you left the first time? Like, it's not like you were pressed for time. You were just, like, because obviously the ship was still okay. Like, you could still breathe on it even after all that time had passed. So they just, like, he could have just taken all of his stuff onto a shuttlecraft and just brought it with him. So, I'm not sure why he didn't do that.
I think
But by the way, on the tangent of the previous discussion, it reminded me of something, and I've just looked it up.
Yeah.
So a quote out of the Star Trek Voyager episode "One Small Step," right?
Yeah.
Yep.
7 of 9 says, "Searching for the command module seems more sentimental than scientific," and Captain Janeway says, "Well, I can't argue with that. If scientific knowledge was all we were after, then the Federation would have built a fleet of probes, not starships. Exploration is about seeing things with your own eyes. In this case, we're exploring the past."
Ah, so they do address that point.
Yeah.
In a different series 8 years in the future, but sure, why not?
Yeah, but why don't they just make probes with scientists on board that don't need to pilot them?
I don't know.
All right.
Because then you'd have too many people following the Prime Directive, and that's bad.
Yes.
Oh, wait, that reminds me. I forgot to make a point earlier about why the bridge is on top of the Enterprise. And my theory is that it's a reference to how ships were traditionally laid out, where you had the lowest of the low on the bottom, then you had higher up and higher up to getting to more senior officers, until on the very top you have the bridge. And it's just kind of a reference to the old Navy on Earth, I guess.
because that paying a homage to old wooden ships is a brilliant way to design a fleet of starships.
Well, it's supposed to be romantic.
Yeah, but I don't really think that romance is your top priority
No,
when
no,
building
no,
a
no,
vessel
not romance.
designed for
Like
combat.
it's romanticism is not like
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, good. Just making sure you understand the difference.
Thanks. What's next? I think we've talked about technology too. But just one more thing. They seem to be awfully inconsistent about what can pass through shields or not.
Yeah.
Shields range in a given episode anywhere from totally useless to the ultimate defense against anything.
Yeah, like so in some cases it seems like they can only ever repel, lasers or like phasers, stuff like that, actual weapons. In other cases they can just like repel any random bit of mass that happens to be anywhere nearby. I mean, it's kind of strange.
That's not very consistent, is it?
Not very, no.
I mean, like from the diagrams that you see on their various like shield output consoles, which are I'm sure meaningless, but it would seem as if it's some sort of magnetic field. Like that's just what it looks like to the untrained eye, I guess, which would make me think that it might have some sort of weird. That might be some sort of weird sci-fi way of explaining how it deflects a phaser, but it doesn't explain how it stops like, non-magnetic matter from being repelled.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anyway, moving on.
Actually, wait, I have some more things to talk about technology, and I said I was going to talk about it at the very beginning when we started streaming, and that is about headaches. And how they don't have headaches in the future, or at least they're very uncommon. Well, maybe it's not exactly about headaches, it's about the common cold. Dr. Crusher makes a claim that in the 24th century, people no longer suffer from the common cold.
Yes.
And I would have to say that is a very, very impressive feat. That would mean medicine would not only have to account for over 200 viruses, they would also have to be able to accurately predict how the viruses will evolve. Or they have to also be able to produce antibiotics at the same rate that the viruses evolved themselves.
Yeah, but you can't produce antibiotics for a virus because by definition, antibiotic is antibacterial.
Yeah. I say antibiotics as like a placeholder.
Maybe
term.
they killed them with laser beams.
That is a distinct possibility. But
anyways, this would be.
Although to be fair, they do later on make a claim that in 300 years nobody solved Fermat's last theorem, which we've already done by this point in history. So
yeah, that's a bit of a hole. And what's the episode where they claim that the surface temperature of the planet is negative 294 degrees Celsius?
Yeah, that was the one where like Riker gets abducted by the Romulans or something like that, right? Yeah, they said there was like rivers of neon, and I'm like, okay, that is so cold. There is no way. Wait, sorry, I'm thinking of a different episode.
No.
That was the one where they got into it was called like the Royale or something like
that. Yes, the Royale. Oh god, that was an awful episode.
Yeah.
Oh, memories. They burn.
But anyway, they said at the start, negative 290-something degrees Celsius.
Yeah, which isn't possible, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's like negative Kelvin. Which...
Of the cast, crew, production team, other people on the production team, editors, no one, in a science fiction show where you'd expect at least a couple of people to be moderately educated, not point out that this number you're quoting is actually below absolute zero.
Yeah, well, I mean... like, that's just how cold it is. It's so cold, it's unbelievably cold.
Anyway.
The atoms have not only stopped moving, they are now, like, I don't even know, stopping everything else in the vicinity from moving as well. Like, that's not an explanation, you can't go below episode 0, but whatever.
It's not. It's just not possible.
The strings have stopped vibrating in 5 dimensions or something.
It's so
Anyway.
cold that it made this blue whale, who's already kind of cold, pretty cold. I don't know where I'm going with that.
This blue whale is pretty cold
It
right
makes
now.
Canada look slightly less miserable.
That's a good one. That's a good one. We just had our first frost today on October 5th, so that was fun.
Nice. We had our first torrential downpour a few days ago. That was pretty great.
Yeah, that hurricane looks fun.
Yeah. Well, actually, it wasn't the hurricane. The hurricane just passed by without anything. There was a tropical storm which preceded it, which was worse.
Oh,
Right.
You know.
that's unfortunate.
Okay.
Anyway.
General thoughts on the episode.
Thought it was
Wait.
pretty
I
good.
still have some more things to say about curing the
Cold?
common cold.
Yeah.
Okay. Assuming they were able to keep up with the rate of which the viruses mutate, that would be very difficult with the cold because most of those viruses have a very long incubation period, which means it can spread undetected. And also the viruses don't always produce symptoms on everyone, so there can be carriers as well. And also chimpanzees can get the common cold as well, not just humans. So you'd have to vaccinate all these people and also all these chimpanzees. So
But why do you need
to
to
eradicate the
vaccinate
common cold,
chimpanzees?
that'd be a logistical nightmare.
Okay, maybe not lasers. Here's a new theory. Microscopic, self-replicating nanobot sharks with lasers strapped to the back.
You mean, but isn't that literally, going by the Voyager definition, exactly what the Borg are?
Anyways, I'm just trying to get the point across that medicine in the 24th century is apparently absolutely amazing.
You don't say. I feel like they weren't going to the logistics of it. They were just kind of like, oh, we need to have some sort of, astounding feat that we can, to illustrate how advanced we are. Oh, let's say we cured the common cold. That's always a good go-to medical thing. So,
I am very impressed with them for doing so.
all the squares. No.
No more squares. Okay, general thoughts.
Squares are cool.
General thoughts.
It was good.
Yeah, I liked
Yeah,
it.
it was a pretty good episode. There's just one thing at the very end. Picard kind of made it in... Well, he didn't directly say it, but he kind of implied that it was okay sometimes to kill someone. And we kind of brushed on this a little bit earlier, but I don't know. That kind of seemed
Well,
out of
his
character.
actions throughout, 7 years and half a dozen movies, he kills a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, although that's the thing. That's what actually I think makes him so much cooler than Captain Kirk. Is that he doesn't actually. He rarely kills people himself. It's always like someone else that he orders to kill someone. Which I think is a lot cooler than bashing an alien's head with a rock.
Or making gunpowder to kill a Gorn.
Oh,
God.
Oh no! He not only made gunpowder, he made a gun. Then he made gunpowder, and then he shot a diamond out of the gun using the gunpowder to kill the Gorn. You're like, how do you do this in the span of one fight?
By being very, very good.
Okay, well, anyway.
So, are we on to the rating stage then?
Yes, we
sure,
are.
yes.
Oh, wait,
Rewind.
I actually just remembered something. One more thing. I was
Yeah?
having a discussion with a friend of mine, and she asked me, how does time work in the Star Trek universe? How do they coordinate time? And at the very beginning of this episode, coincidentally, like the day after I had this conversation, I watched it, and Damon Bach makes reference saying, we will meet you in 1 Earth hour.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what I'm only assuming is that each empire / federation has its own calendar system and record
Well,
of
Well,
whenever
keeping
call it
time.
any
the same
alien-
calendar, but a different.
Well, yeah,
like-
timekeeping system.
Yeah.
Whenever any alien at any point, no matter what their origin throughout the show, talks about time, they always say in one of your Earth hours or one of your Earth days. You know, it's never done on the aliens' terms. It's always done in units that the viewers can understand.
So what we're
Yeah.
saying is that Star Trek is alien racist.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Luckily,
At the
there's
very
no one
beginning, they
around
don't
to
say no
complain
man.
about
They
it.
say no one. In like the opening, where no one
Well,
has gone before.
Yeah, but that's more.
Changing times
Yeah,
in the first one.
it's more being less sexist than being less xenophobic.
I like to think it's also
Incidentally,
being less
Incidentally,
xenophobic.
you both probably already know this, but the Star Trek, the original series, had the first interracial kiss on television, which is pretty great.
This is
Just want to
true.
put that out
Yes.
there. Very progressive. They also came up with the first iPads.
I don't think so. I'm sure there's some old Asimov story.
Well- Yeah. They came up with the first popular iPads.
Fair enough.
Anyway.
So,
yeah. Ratings.
Scores, ratings. First category, political themes.
There weren't really that many political themes in general.
No,
No.
I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, sure. We don't want this to get too low a score, so let's go for 4.
Yeah, there was kind of like a
Despite
little
the
bit of
despite the utter lack of any political themes, let's go for 4.
there's kind of like the political viewpoints of the Ferengi versus the Federation a
Yeah,
little bit.
exactly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, illegal mind control balls.
Yeah,
blowing.
yeah.
And is money good?
No.
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
money's obviously
acting.
not good. We must be
Acting.
communists.
There was some, especially compared to previous episodes, there was some decent acting.
It was
Yeah.
pretty good, I thought, especially on Picard's part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
8?
Patrick Stewart did a very good job on this.
7, 8?
Yeah, let's say. Well, we want to leave it open for like the. Yeah, let's say 8 actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
8.
go 8.
Okay, technobabble.
There was a
There's
decent
quite a
amount
bit of
it.
technobabble.
Yeah. I'd say about average for a Star Trek episode, so
Yeah.
5.
5? Sure,
yeah,
let's go for
5 is
5.
pretty average. Yeah.
Okay. Plot. One of the better ones.
Yeah,
Best one
probably
we've had
decent.
so
it was
far.
all right.
Maybe 6 or 7, somewhere around there.
I'd give it a 6. There was much
6.
better plots, but it was
All
above
right.
average.
6 sounds good.
And awesomeness.
I mean, it had
I
the
mean-
Picard maneuver, so
I feel like after all of these episodes that we've gone through, like after having seen all of those bad ones, the awesomeness factor has definitely been kicked up a notch.
oh yeah.
Like maybe if this one, followed up the what was it? The How the Other Side Lives or whatever it was called. The great one. What was it? I need to look it up now. You all know what I'm talking about.
Which one?
Let me scroll through.
The Inner Light?
No, it was
Darmok, Best of Both Worlds.
Best of Both Worlds. That was it. Best of Both Worlds. Yeah. If this was maybe following up Best of Both Worlds, it wouldn't have been as high in awesomeness.
But
Right.
luckily, the one that does follow up Best of Both Worlds is awesome.
Yes, and it's great because it directly ties into Best of Both Worlds, and it's it's fantastic. So anyway, back to this
awesomeness.
episode. Awesomeness. What do you say? 6, 7, somewhere around there.
I'd say it's 6. It had the
have
Ferengi as
opinions?
the main villains. That
Wonko? I mean, Kevin.
Sure, 6.
6. All right.
6.
Giving us a total of 29 out of 50.
That's probably the highest we've had so far.
I think so. So 1, 2.
I really should start recording these, like
6.
what our scores are, so we can actually cross-reference them in the future.
Yeah.
6. Defiant class.
Ooh, that's
For
actually not
all
bad.
you DS9 fans out there.
Right. So cool. Defined class. Do you have any
Yeah.
pictures of the Defined class where you could bring up just to give people perspective?
I'll get one.
Do we actually have the class of starship that the Stargazer is on this? Because it would have been great if we had gotten that one for this episode.
Can you look up what class it is?
I'll find out.
Sure. I'll do that.
Constitution.
Constitution.
Oh, it was intended to be a Constitution. Never
It
mind.
isn't a Constitution.
It was intended to be a Constitution class, but no, sorry, Constellation. That's what I meant to say.
Oh, Constellation.
Constellation. No, we don't. We've got Constitution, but wait, isn't the Enterprise the original one?
Yes, that was a Constitution class. Because that's why I was sort of confused. Because I'm like, I don't remember the first Enterprise looking like that.
Yeah,
But yeah, Constellation.
Yeah, sorry. They have many. They're similar words. Sorry, I got them mixed up when I said that.
Yeah, I get it. But so, right. So I'm pretty sure that's the highest you've gotten so far. Which is pretty good.
29. Big old 29. 2 and 9.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fairly decent number.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Isn't that Worf's ship in First Contact?
Yeah.
Alright.
His ship in First Contact is called the USS Defiant,
Wow, what a creative name.
since it was the first of its class.
Alright, well.
It's also the ship they use in later seasons of Deep Space Nine for getting round until it gets blown up, and I think they also call the second one the Defiant.
Wow. Oh, that's really creative of them.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't even have an excuse the second time. Like, the first time, it's like the first in class, might as well call it after the class it was named. But the second time, you gotta come up with something more clever than just the Defiant.
Well, to be fair, we have had how many ships called Enterprise?
I mean, but at least they give them
technically
like
6.
a different moniker afterwards, and the class isn't Enterprise.
Yeah, the ship was originally designated the USS Sao Paulo and was one of a number of vessels to bear the name Defiant. It was renamed the Defiant because they got nostalgic for the old ship.
Huh. Cool.
And it was exactly the same, probably because they didn't want to buy a new set.
Incidentally, why is it USS? Shouldn't it be something else? Like, I mean,
I think it's United. Oh, let's find out what that means. It means it's supposed to be a reference to the United Federation of Planets, I believe, somehow.
but it's United Federation of Planets is not spelled USS.
Well, no. I don't know.
The
I'm just making
abbreviation
stuff up
has
here.
been used to stand for United States Ship, United Spaceship, and United Starship.
Okay, I feel like they're kind of stretching there.
Yeah,
Just use US terminology.
the prefix was first used on Earth by the United States.
You don't
It
say.
has been continued by the United Earth and United Federation of Planets.
What was the United Earth?
It's what came before.
Well,
When
yeah,
Earth-
after
Right.
World War III.
but
So, basically, they're suggesting that the Federation grew out of the United States.
Yes, that's exactly what they're doing, because the
didn't
UN
the US
actually disbands, according to Star Trek
didn't-
lore.
didn't the US lose World War III?
Yes, they did.
They lost every major city other than San Francisco, but, you should have seen the other guy.
Like, you gotta imagine this, like the reverse every disaster movie, where it's like the one thing that survives is the Golden Gate Bridge. Everything else is destroyed but the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is this San Francisco? Why is the reason for that? Like, not from a lore perspective, but from like a production perspective. Is it because Star Trek the studio based in San Francisco or something?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't. It seems like a kind of random city to say survived. Like, they even got like Salt Lake City. I mean, that isn't that big. They still got that. Decided to leave San Francisco. I mean,
Yeah, I know. San
It's kinda
Francisco is
weird.
also on the coast. Do you think it would probably be something more inland?
you'd think so, but Anyway, right. Is that it then? Are we good?
I believe so. I have nothing more to
Alright.
say.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
See you next week.
Bye. See you.